How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Agents of Fandom podcast. We have a very special exclusive interview today. We are sitting down once again with the amazing Anjali Bhimani. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so excited that we're doing this again. It's very fun to be here.
So excited to have you back on.
As excited as you are to be doing this again, I can let you know that I am doubly excited to be meeting you for the first time.
We missed you last time. We just had to do it again. We couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, I can't be left out.
Garrett's so excited he didn't even let me give him his intro, but he doesn't need an intro. You know who this guy is. Garrett, how you doing? And obviously excited.
Yes. Sorry to bury the lead, but I am very excited because I, due to some unforeseen circumstances last time, was not able to join. But I am so ready to catch up on everything I missed and really just dive into all this stuff today.
Well, let's do it. Let's go. Let's like I said, let's milk it all.
Let's do it.
And so one of the exciting things one of the reasons we wanted to double back on this interview was we couldn't talk spoilers before. Only 2 episodes had been out, and now the full season is out. The finale was absolutely incredible. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind. This is my favorite Disney Plus show that we've seen so far.
Oh, yay. I'm really happy to hear that.
Now
biased, so.
Yeah. Now that it's all out, what did you think of the whole series? And Auntie Ruby, you talked about how she's kind of the newscaster of the show. She kept things tight for Kamala at the end when she was getting doing her TikTok interviews.
She did, but she had to get in that little bit of auntiness about her finding a husband. What do I think about the whole series? I mean, gosh, that's such a broad question. Obviously, I'm incredibly proud of what everyone created. And at the same time, and I think I might have said this the first time through, this is the first time that I've been able to watch something that I've been a part of, both as someone who participated and a fan of the thing that I'm participating in and watching it. So when the show came out and all of the episodes past episode 2, because I'd only seen the first 2 episodes at our premiere, when the show aired for the rest of you, I was seeing it for the first time too. And I was constantly just blown away by so much. I mean, from the very first moment, everyone's in love with Iman Vellani, right? Everyone, like, she's the perfect Kamala. She's a wonderful actress. She's a lovely person on screen and off. So when you have that, sort of spearheading everything, when you have someone like that as the focus, as someone like that as your number one on the call sheet or whatever, you know that you're in a good place. You know that there's an anchor, even if she's very, very young and this is her first gig. She just happened to be a really fantastic anchor. So watching how everyone, like every single person who came in had put their own unique stamp on whatever character they were bringing in, was such a delight. And then the episodes where they went overseas to Pakistan were incredible, getting all of that backstory. I mean, I when you say, what do I think? I'm super excited. I'm very excited to now see the Marvels, and to see how all of this continues on. Because we all know, like, that's public knowledge that's coming and that she's in it. So I cannot wait, especially after episode 6. I cannot wait to see exactly how that happens and where that happens.
Yeah, what a tease! What a tease they left us off with at the end of that episode.
2 teases, 2 giant teases.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wasn't going to mention that one till later, but yes, 2 giant teases, absolutely. On the heels of you talking about, you watched it for the first time at the premiere, and we're watching that as it debuted, kind of like the rest of us. Are there any scenes that you filmed that didn't make it into the final cut, and are you allowed to talk about those? If so,
I don't recall, certainly not full scenes. For me, there were like improvised moments and things like that didn't make it in, but that's very common, right? You when you're on set, particularly in something like this, and you have so many bold and bright characters, a lot of times you'll be allowed to you let the horses run a little bit, and then you have the benefit of having stuff that you're able to cut, right? It's so much easier to cut than to have to come back and reshoot things. So yeah, I don't recall anything. No, I wish I had a more fun answer.
I asked this because it's such a good show, right? We were just talking about kind of a very hard question, right? How do you feel about the show? There's so much to talk about. It's so amazing. There's so much love baked into it that I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say, we could have watched several more hours of that show.
I will say that, like, I wish as a viewer that there were at least a couple more episodes to sort of allow that story to percolate in our heads as we were going forward with it. But what they've done at this point, by giving us only 6, is now we're just hungry for more, that's not such a bad thing. Also, I want to go back to when you said, what do you think of it? There's one very, very, very important thing that I didn't mention. And that is, I think we talked about this a little bit the first time, but I couldn't go into detail about it because of spoilers. The fact that there are major historical events that happen worldwide that we may never know about as Americans, or that Europeans may never know about it wherever they are, or that whoever may not know about. But major historical events happen that change the course of the world's history. And one of them was the partition of India and Pakistan. And to be able to dive into that story and to be able to share that story through this story is a very different thing. We've seen it told, we've seen the history shown in movies like Gandhi and, movies where you would expect to see this dramatic rendition of what happened. But to have it as a part of something it felt like another part of life, because so much of this show was a snapshot into the life of a family, into the life of a young girl, into a life of a group of friends, right? And so to be able to then take that, put that right in the center of it, and show how it percolates into everything at the same time as you are essentially giving an education to people who had no idea that it happened. I have friends in the UK that they knew very, very, very little about partition, which is, a lot, since Britain was responsible for it. So I'm very grateful that we had a chance to not only share that, but share that in an organic way. And I love what they did. I love what the writers and creators did with weaving that into the story in a different way than the comic book.
I think they did an incredibly beautiful job of weaving that in. And I think I said this in an earlier episode, but speaking for myself, I learned a little bit about partition, but not a lot. I learned so much more through this show than I learned like in the education system. And that is a testament in and of itself.
I honestly can't recall learning about it or seeing it in class. I knew about it probably before one would be studying it. Probably, you get world history around 6th grade if you're lucky, but more often, a little bit older. And I do not remember it being a part of the history books. Maybe one line in a history book that we just go over, and that's. I don't want to say it's appalling, but it is shocking to think that something, and this happens in countries and regions all over the globe. There are stories, and I love that Marvel is taking those stories on, whether it's the Armenian genocide, whether it's race relations in America, whatever it is, they're taking all of these important issues and weaving them into their international stories so that these superheroes are part of our human world and experiencing so much of what we are experiencing, so that we have a way in and we get to learn the stories of our world at the same time as we learn these fantastic stories and these fantasy stories. Yeah,
really well said.
And I began the interview with such a broad question because you are truly, in the short career I've had, you're truly the best interview I've ever done. And so that's why I'm so thankful to have you back on for a second time. And just like you mentioned, you mentioned after episode 2 that this show gives us a window into the history. And we get to learn more. And I swear, in every single episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast we have had since we reference that conversation in our interview because every single person that comes in to talk about Ms. Marvel goes, there's so much stuff I didn't know. And I learned, and then I researched afterwards because I wanted to learn more.
That's the key right there. That's the key, is just piquing someone's curiosity. You don't have to give people everything, and you certainly don't want to hammer anyone over the head with some kind of political message or anything. You know, it's not about that. It's about sharing enough of the story that it is intriguing enough that someone wants to learn more.
Exactly.
You can take that ride. You can take that ride and have that experience and be like, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to come back and go off over here to learn a little bit more. I love that. I love hearing that.
They hook us and they tease us, making us want to know more, just like they did with Kamala Khan and her mutation. Just like they did with Brie Larson at the end in the episode there. I'm curious.
Hang on a second. Go away. There's spoilers in this interview. My husband has been overseas for the last 2 episodes of the show, and I don't want him to hear what happened.
So sorry.
No, I just realized it. No, it's fine. Since I'm visiting, we're in the same place. So I was like, oh no, put your headphones on. Okay.
Poor guy.
Good? You good, boo? Okay.
Great save. Wonderful save. We have a very dedicated fan who hasn't seen Thor Love and Thunder yet. And so we always make sure anytime we talk about it to make sure to give us a spoiler warning so he can mute. But I'm curious, we got the teases in the finale, and we all want more Kamala Khan. We all want more Auntie Ruby. And while we don't know anything about a season 2 yet, I'm curious if you've had conversations or done some filming for anything in the MCU going forward. Will we be seeing more Auntie Ruby?
Your guess is as good as mine. I hope we will.
I hope we will too.
And also, if I knew, I wouldn't be.
Are we speaking to Anjali Bhimani, or are we speaking to Andrew Garfield?
I mean, I could, but then I'd have to kill you, and I like you guys, and I don't want to be arrested. Like, it would be a whole thing.
We don't need to stick Kevin Feige on you. That's a tall order for anyone.
He's a very cool dude. I don't want to be on the wrong side of Kevin. He's so sweet and so cool. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to get more Kamala, right? And we're going to see how she weaves. I'm assuming we are going to see how her character weaves more into not just the MCU, but as we find out a little more about the mutation and what that means for the MCU and who that might mean shows up. Like, I'm wicked excited about that. I'd never say wicked, but I just did. I'm so excited about that because my fandom, like college-ish on, was X-Men. I loved those comics, and they were my first introduction to imperfect heroes, imperfect superheroes. Superheroes who had the greatest of intentions but had fatal flaws, because so many of the stories that had been told up until that point, at least the ones that I had read, had very, very almost perfect people out there saving the world, and that's good for a certain aesthetic and good for a certain feeling. But if you want to connect with a superhero story, you need to see what part of them is similar to you, right? So, right. So I'm really excited to see how that weaves in. Also, because in Doctor Strange, the recent Doctor Strange, we got to see so much of what happened in Earth. Was it 818? Earth 8? What, I can't remember the number, but the other
838.
838. 818 is an area code in Los Angeles, so it's got to be 838. That's why I was thinking 818.
That makes sense.
Because we saw so much of other possibilities of connections within the MCU. So I'm just as excited as you guys, and I am so wary of spoilers. I try very, 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 very hard to stay away from anything that might ruin things for me. Like, I don't even watch the trailers half the time. I'm a little worried that I'm going to see something in the trailer that's going to make me know, oh no, you know what, this is going to happen, and they're going to pull this thing, and I don't want to ruin it for myself.
That happened, I think, a little bit with Multiverse of Madness. There was like one trailer that came out like the week of the movie release, and that showed like, I think it was Captain Carter doing like some Illuminati stuff.
Yes,
and
that's right.
we were like, there's like 4 days left. Just wait.
But there was so much more than just
There
her up
was.
here to know about what he was doing in there. And I don't want to spoil that for anyone who hasn't seen that. So we'll just leave it at that, unless we go spoiler alert. But yeah, so I'm super excited about that new piece of knowledge. I'm super excited that it was just kind of dropped there and then, okay, no big deal. If that's information I don't need to know, I'm going to go drive this car.
Yeah, we don't even know how long, it's going to be till that's mentioned again.
No idea. We have no idea. And we're going to have to wait to the Marvels to find out.
So I'm curious. At what kind of point did you guys know that this change had been made to Kamala? Was this like kind of early on in the process, or was it kind of saved until you guys filmed that episode and then it was like a big reveal?
So for me, I found out when you found out, because they're very careful about, I suspect, some of the larger leads had a lot more of the story available to them, even parts that they weren't in. But as far as I was concerned, what I got to see was the stuff that I was involved in. And Marvel are very careful about keeping a very tight, closed set so that nothing gets out like that. And I'm trying not to know, so I'm totally fine with that. They made it really easy on me. I hate it when I have the joy of getting to be on one of my favorite shows, but then I'm 6 episodes ahead of what we're watching, and so I know what's going to happen, and so it's a bittersweet acting gig to get. So in this case, nothing was really spoiled for me. I mean, just like this much was spoiled.
That's exciting. Wow. I didn't expect that.
What?
It's super cool. Like, I love, well, you guys know the story about how, for Endgame, spoiler alert, if anyone has not seen the end of Endgame, there's a big thing that happens. So go away for a minute and I will raise this hand when it's time for you to come back. The mute. The cast wasn't told that they were going to a funeral. And they were not told exactly whose funeral they were told it was a wedding or something like that.
Yeah.
Or some like special occasion. And so when you have people who are that level of not only actor but character in the MCU and you're not even telling them, that's kind of a. I also think, I'm stopping that sentence right in the middle because this one's more important. I also think as an actor, it's really useful sometimes. Like, I can imagine going into that scene, that Avengers scene as one of them, and finding out what you were actually there to shoot, and that first take just being
Gold.
Raw. Yeah, and just so emotional. So I love that. So, I mean, it's a little bit of, messing with our heads a little bit.
So
but
sneaky.
Sometimes, I mean, look, we strategically mess with our own heads as actors. So sometimes it's nice to have an environment that helps us do that. Okay, you're safe. Come back. Yay, no spoilers. Okay, that's gonna be my new thing.
I like that. That's a good system.
I love it. And I'm curious
if you're listening, sorry, you're screwed. I don't know how to show you that we're back. But
if you're listening, go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube,
There you go.
hit the like button, subscribe, help us out, and
I subscribe.
there you go. And I'm subscribed to I Am Fun Size as well, which we are going to touch on more at the end. But I'm curious, as a huge X-Men fan yourself, what is it like having Kamala Khan being the first mutant we get in the MCU, and what did it feel like watching that for the first time when you heard that X-Men 97 theme playing when they mentioned mutation?
I think there was a wave of denial happening at that moment because I was just trying to kind of take in everything that I almost was like, am I hearing this? No, it's okay. Just did he say mutant? Does that mean? Wait, just focus. And then I feel like my brain just didn't want to take it in. And then upon a second watching, when I was first into the X-Men, they were sort of this first pantheon of international heroes that were coming in. And whenever you do something like that, of course, whoever you are, you kind of want the person who is like you or from your homeland or close to your homeland or whatever. And I hadn't found that. You know, there was no one I could cosplay and know that it was me. It was my people, so to speak. And now we have Kamala, and we have no idea what is going to come of that, and we have no idea how. I'm just I'm weirdly speechless right now. You know, I'm never speechless. I'm weirdly speechless about how I feel about it because I'm excited to find out how exactly that manifests and what it means and what it means for everybody. It's certainly opened a door to phase 5, 6, 7, 8, 92. Like it has opened a whole giant world of possibilities. You know, between that, the multiverse, like there's just so much. There's so much that can be mined over the next 900 years of Marvel.
And we just had an amazing guest on recently. He goes by Watch with Neebs, who I have to say, if you haven't checked him out before, I really recommend it. He did some of the very best content on Ms. Marvel that I've ever seen before. Wow. And he's
make a note of it. Not me being rude. This is me making
absolutely. So it's Watch with Neebs, Neebz, and or Z. Sorry, Canadian came out.
I love that you said Z. Well done.
So he started off by doing some cultural Easter eggs, and then he has popped up on a bunch of podcasts, and he's such a perfect person to cover it because he is a Pakistani American who lives in New Jersey. And one of the things he mentioned on our podcast was this was one of the very first times in media, in American media, he's seen someone say Allahu Akbar in a positive sense, how it's meant to be used and how much that meant to him. And with the X-Men and mutants being kind of born and grown through the civil rights movement, it's such an incredible thing that Kamala Khan, as a Pakistani American in the show, Pakistani Canadian in real life, Aman Vellani, it's so cool that she gets to be one of the very first people representing not only what she's represented in Ms. Marvel, but becoming the first mutant. And I loved how she mentioned this is just another label. I've dealt with this my whole life. This is just another label.
Well, that's just it. That's just nothing. It's just another thing. And also not just a Pakistan, not only, she has so many different things that define her. Not only is she Pakistani American, the character, not Iman is Pakistani Canadian, I believe, but Pakistani American, but she's Muslim. And Muslims, let's be honest, have been vilified in entertainment for a very long time. Even some of my favorite Pakistani and other South Asian actors have ended up needing to play terrorist after terrorist after terrorist after terrorist. And while that is one story that can be told, there are so many more. And this one, you know, I'm Indian, I'm not Pakistani, but so much because partition is the only thing that made us different, essentially. I mean, in terms of India and Pakistan, there's so much interwoven between our cultures. And it was the first time I saw my not my hood, but just like my community on screen. You know, it's we got to do a dance at a wedding because that's what is done. Yeah, we got, you know, it felt like home. It felt like home coming to
that's really important. Yeah, that is really important. I think that there needs to be a lot more of that moving forward. And I think that the steps are already there, right? We're already making the headway. We just need to push it forward.
And I'm not, you know, it's not that I or anyone else is here trying to, like, you know, hold up signs saying this is the big message, you have to be this way or have to be that way. This is one story about one community, about one girl. So we understand that. No one story can encompass everything about an entire ethnic background, about an entire history, about an entire race, whatever. No one story can do that. But the fact that this one was as complex as it was and now it lives on its own. Hopefully will open the door to people being able to tell more varied stories from the other ones that we have seen with our community in them, with South Asians and Arabs and whomever. I hope it opens the door for people to start telling more stories that are unique in their telling.
Yeah,
very well 100%. Said. Very well said.
I thought you froze there. I was scared. I lost you guys.
No, that's so profound. You know, it takes a second to sink in.
I mentioned that you're the best interview I've had, and that's like this is a testament of it. Sometimes I just kind of forget that I'm the one doing the interview, and I just sit and listen because I love what you have to say.
You guys are so sweet. You're so sweet. How about you? What are you excited about? Like, I mean, what are you most excited about the ending? Because I love talking to other people who are in this world, who are involved.
For me,
TJ, you want to go first?
So for me, honestly, what got me really excited on a personal level is like, I just, other than the mutant thing, I basically just batted 100% on all of my theories throughout the season. I have ADHD, and when I watch each episode 5 times, and when I'm watching them, I'm constantly theorizing and picking things apart. Yeah, I can't help it. It's just part of what I do, and so I was really happy.
I do kind of the same thing. And it sort of feels like in Loki when they're talking about the branches. Kind of feels like in my head, I'm creating all the branches as we go.
Perfect analogy.
By the end, I'm like, well, I see. I called it. Well, you're like, you called that in 40 other possibilities in your brain. Yep. You can't say you called it.
You got to chuck it up at the wall and see what sticks.
If I cover enough bases, I'll be right some of the time.
Sorry, TJ, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I just wanted to share in your branching.
That was a perfect analogy it's absolutely spot on. So that was a big one for me. I love that my favorite part from the series overall is I love that they aren't afraid to change things about the characters and the stories while keeping the important parts. And so we had, when we had our comic expert on coming to do our primer, he talked about Kamran, and Kamran in comics is a douche. And we don't really like him. And I said, I kind of think Kamran is going to end up being a Red Dagger. I think that's gonna be the way it could end up. And then he ended up joining, talking to Kareem, and so that one felt pretty good. But Garrett, how about you?
I was super excited with the little Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings teases that we kind of got throughout some of the episodes.
Yeah, okay.
Shang-Chi continues to be one of my favorite projects of Phase 4. One of my favorite projects in the entire MCU. And to see that fleshed out a little bit in a tease in this show was I was completely caught off guard by it. And I'm hoping that there's some sort of connection between the bangles and the rings that we kind of get to discover a little bit.
Did you pay attention to any of the announcements at San Diego Comic-Con?
I paid attention to all of the announcements. We actually did a huge 4-hour live stream.
So I'm like, I'm pretty sure. I feel like there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get what you wanted.
I'm hoping so, and that's all I could think about, in those last few minutes of the show when the switch happens and she puts the bangle on and then disappears somewhere else, and then we see Brie Larson's Captain Marvel there. So I'm excited to see those two continue to interact in the future.
I'll tell you what was one surprise that I was very excited about, and it happened in like the first episode when they mentioned that Kamala was in her junior year. So I was like, great, she has to be in Jersey for one more year before she can graduate high school. Maybe that means we have to have a season 2.
I love that. See, you're just like us. Your brain is thinking of things.
Not finish high school. She's a good Pakistani girl. She's got to stay. Finish her education, then she can go off and be a superhero.
Oh, her Auntie Ruby would be so disappointed in her if she left.
So I would just be so sad. I love having her around.
And so,
she's a
on
treasure.
the note of Auntie Ruby, I saw you popping up at the Thor Love and Thunder premiere. And so, spoiler warning for Thor Love and Thunder.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Mute yourself. When you see this, you're safe to come back. Okay, bye.
And so you were obviously at that premiere, so I know you've seen the movie. We talked last time about how Auntie Ruby might think of the other Avengers and what when she's talking with the other Illuminantes, what are her thoughts? And you mentioned she's rooting for Thor, but they're mixed. They're mixed among the Illuminantes.
Yeah, well, I feel like Thor's kind of like, you know, that kid that has all the promise and just kind of keeps screwing up. But you're like, I know you got this in you. It's not the kid who's the perpetual screw up, but it's the kid who's like, oh, you're so close to being everything. And he is. And he does so much amazing stuff. And in Love and Thunder, he does so much amazing stuff. So he definitely steps into his greatness in a lot of different ways. But yeah, I'm definitely rooting for him. I'll tell you, I'm Team Valkyrie in general. Like, I want to see a lot of her everywhere. She's just the dopest of dope. She's the queen of dope.
I have one question for Auntie Ruby, and I have one question for Anjali. And the question for Auntie Ruby is, how has that conversation with Thor shifted among the Illuminantes since Love and Thunder? How do they feel now that he's taking on fatherhood?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So big old spoiler. That was the spoiler. I think now he is absolutely the most eligible bachelor in town, because now he's such a good father. Oh, he's such a good father.
Single dad.
He's a single dad. He's such a good father. He has such a good heart. Look at what he gave up. Look at everything. Oh, and it was true love, and he gave it up. Oh, this is so perfect. I feel like there's a romantic side that also, you know, feeds into the joy of that. Because I do feel like a lot of my aunties and a lot of people I know and knew in the Indian community that I grew up in were very much about like what the story of your life is going to be with this person, and that's why you should marry them. I was kind of like, can I wait till I like find out if I like them and maybe date them, and like maybe we won't get along, so the story of my life might not go that way. But so yeah, so now I think the aunties are definitely, at the very least, looking for a good Pakistani girl, good Indian girl, good South Asian girl for him. You know, we're looking for someone for him. And it doesn't have to be South Asian, you know. It could be, we're just looking for a good girl. It'd be nice if she was South Asian, but it doesn't matter. Anyone from anywhere, as long as he loves her and she loves him. So that is, I think, at least that's Auntie Ruby's take on it. I don't know about the other aunties, because obviously, even within the aunties, even though we didn't see so much of all of them, you could tell there were very different mojos coming off of them. And so I can't speak for any of the other aunties, but I can definitely speak for Ruby. For what I imagine Ruby to be, I don't know. This is not canon. There's nothing there. Okay, you're spoiler safe. Come on back.
Love it.
I love that.
You know what you guys should do? I hate it when people say, you know what you should do. It's like the worst sentence ever. I offer this up to you as a possibility. Make a little sign. One that says spoiler alert and one that says it's safe. And you can hold them up like this.
I love that. And then even more importantly, every time we hold them up, we can get a little thought of you, a little reminder of Anjali being on our show.
I love it.
We will have to implement that moving forward.
Yeah.
I'm not very artistic, so TJ, you might have to take the reins on that.
I mean, the jankety, the more jankety, the better, I think.
Honestly, like you're probably right.
Like the cuter, the more it looks like you've done it with Crayola crayons, I think the better. Personally.
I got a niece. I'll find my niece and have her do it for me.
DJ, you said you had a question for
Yes,
Anjali,
and
too.
so this is it's still on the same silly train, but this is something a lot of us were upset about when we went to see Thor: Love and Thunder, because Marvel's done this a few times to us with they throw something in the trailer, we don't get it in the movie, and we talked about Valkyrie, how amazing Tessa Thompson is in that role. We didn't get the sword dagger lick. It was the highlight of the trailer. It was so cool and badass and sexy, and we didn't even get it. Were you as disappointed as we were?
I mean, we got it on the internet. We've had it. It exists in our world. It exists in our imaginations, and we can throw it in the movie anywhere we want in our memory of it. So I feel like it exists. I feel like it already exists in the multiverse. In the branch that we're in, it still exists. It's just on a TV or on a screen, and it's not necessarily in the movie. But
now you can find it on the internet and replay it a million times.
I'll be honest with you. In the world that I live in, I honestly have been thinking, I'm like, did we not get it? Because in my head, I see it
every day.
I see it. So why? How did it? I see it. Did it really not make it in? So yeah, I believe that I believe that in our branch it actually did. And if not, there's a branch where it did.
I love that. That is the best answer you could have possibly come up with.
I love it so much. And so we talked about San Diego Comic-Con. We did a 4-hour live stream on our YouTube and our Twitch. We covered all the Marvel San Diego Comic-Con news, and it was awesome. We had over 4,000 live viewers tuning in. It was a really great time.
Oh, wow.
It was huge for us. Yeah.
Wow, you guys, congratulations.
Thank you so much. And, we were expecting maybe to know what else is happening in Phase 4. Well, no, that's over. We got Phase 5 coming. We got Phase 6 coming.
Yeah, wasn't even just Phase 5. You got 5 and 6. Kevin ain't playing. He was like, here, let me give you all the things.
Yeah, and
It's
Phase 4 is done in a couple months. Who would have thought that?
I know, who would have thought? But, we got to, change is the only thing that we can be certain of. So it's coming one way or the other. And now we just got to get ready for the next year.
Yes, and so on that...
We do have to get ready for the next year.
Outside of the Marvels, because there's a bias there, what Phase 5 project are you looking forward to watching as a fan the most?
Woof. Okay, I have to... I'm dying to see Wakanda Forever.
That trailer was something else.
I was crying watching it on. I was watching it on my phone.
So
I was
amazing.
in tears. So amazing, and also because of the bittersweet memory of Chadwick Boseman in that role, and there is a very specific. God, it brings tears to my eyes even right now. There's a very specific reaction that I realized I had when he passed away and reacted to the news, because it was happening in the middle of 2020, which was arguably like the year when the shit hit the fan. Sorry, I don't know if I was allowed to curse, but I did. And when that news came out, and I thought about all the people around who were saying, F 2020, I wish 2020 never happened, screw this, I wish this year would just go away. And my first reaction when I heard the news of him is, I will never wish away time again. Because you never know. I don't care what's going on in the world. I'm never wishing away. I'm never saying screw this year. I'm never saying screw this time in my life, no matter how bad it is, no matter how good it is, no matter what it is, because we're here. We're here in this experience. And as far as we don't know how many chances we get at this, maybe we get more, maybe we don't. So to be here and to not wish away the world that we're in is such a powerful thing. And I feel like he didn't, I feel personally like, I feel very oddly like I have a strong connection in my heart to him, not just because of the amazing talent that he had, but because of that gift that he gave us, because he didn't talk about it. He just gave us him at the best he could do while he was going through all of that. He just gave us him. He just gave us him until he wasn't there anymore. He just gave so much, So yeah, that is a giant legacy that he leaves behind, and also that leads into Wakanda Forever. That I couldn't. Every time someone opens their mouth in that trailer, I'm like. So I probably, that's the one. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. You really cut me down to my heart right there. That was. I wrote a piece for Thrive Global about that, because it hit me so. It was such a specific thing. And if you think about the Marvel universe, the way that it has been created now with the multiverse and the branches and everything, yes, the branches exist, but not everybody can hop between them. So not everybody can have all of those opportunities to experience something else. And if this is the only branch you get, you got to make it count. So yeah, that's the one.
This is the only.
You are such an inspiration.
Absolutely.
I don't know why.
This is the only branch you get. You got to make it count. We got to make sure we take that from this one.
This is the only branch you get. You don't know, right? You don't know.
True.
You don't know.
True.
What you know. So right now, I am prepared. You prepare for the worst and you hope for the best, and everything in between. But don't enjoy time.
I'm very happy to have met you in this timeline, in the branch that I am currently in right now.
You guys, I gotta be honest. I love so much talking about this with other people, even in the context of Ms. Marvel, because again, I have come to it, and I've come to watching it as in as much of the dark in many circumstances as you guys. And so to be able to share that, and to be able to share the excitement about what's to come and how they're weaving in other stories, it's just really fun. I don't get that with all of the that I'm on.
It's fun. Yes, but not. It's fun for us too, because we can genuinely see how excited you are to chat about these little things with us that, something that it's taken for granted kind of, because it's people are like, well, it's a job, what.
I also understand that not everybody, look, we're all really busy, and I had to make a concerted effort to go back and do my research and watch a bunch of the Marvel movies that I hadn't seen, and all of this stuff to really be prepared for what was coming. And not everybody has the time, not everybody has the inclination. People have other loves, people have other jobs. So I completely get that there are other performers who wouldn't necessarily dive this deep into the lore of what they're in. And for some people, it's probably better, because then they come to it fresh. They're not thinking of all the things that could happen or would happen or might be setting up. They just come into it like this is the only branch they get.
Exactly. And
back full circle.
You have a book coming out. I was trying to pre-order and I couldn't because I wasn't part of the Kickstarter, but I'm sure you're going to give me all the details as to how I can. But
should have been part of the Kickstarter, TJ.
We did. I didn't know Anjali yet.
We didn't know each other yet, and we weren't connected on the socials. I get it. And maybe it's very possible that a little elf will be sending you some mail. Well, it's very possible. I'll see. An elf? Apparently, I have elves.
A little assistant elves.
I have elves and fairies. I have them.
I love that. I'm just seeing little versions of you running around, helping you out now in my head, and I'm not going to be able to get it out.
Little tricksters running around, my little tricksters, making mischief. They're popping off books, and then they're moving your glasses at the same time. So you're like, where's my glasses?
That's what happened to them. Oh, it all makes sense now.
Yeah. Anjali! Oh! That's what you're going to do now. Now you're really going to have to think of me all the time. Every time you lose something, you're going to be like, Anjali!
I just wanted a book. You weren't supposed to leave the elves here. Oh!
Oh my God. Okay, we've got off the rails.
I'm sweating.
So the book. Tell me what you would like to know.
I want to know about the book and also the YouTube channel and the other incredible things you have going on right now, because one of the reasons you're an inspiration here for us at the Agents of Fandom is not just the Ms. Marvel stuff, because to me, as incredible as Auntie Ruby and Anjali Bhimani is at acting, your greatest gift is the way you can connect to people on an emotional level and help them out and inspire them through your platform. And we, one of our amazing creators here, Lily, she's on the Agents of Fandom leadership team. She started a program through the site called the Agents of Change. And it really begun with the Roe v. Wade ruling. And just from there, it's kind of how we want to provide some educational pieces. We can get it worked into curriculum, as well as just how we can help from a social justice standpoint with our platform as well. And you do so much stuff similar to that with not only I Am Fun Size, but I've seen your promotions recently for things like the Vagina Monologues. What inspires you to be involved in this type of activism, and then of course lead into I Am Fun Size for us as well?
Sure. So let me do this. Let me give you guys a little bit, or people who don't who don't know a little bit of background before I explain this. So I Am Fun Size was a series that I started in 2017. It was a love letter to this amazing online community of gamers and artists and cosplayers and, writers that had basically embraced me as I came back into the gaming world with Overwatch and other projects. And I came back in as an actor as opposed to as a player, because I was a player as a kid. And I wanted to give something back so badly because they were so generous. And I thought, okay, well, the only thing that I have that is one of the only things that I have that is unique to me that I can share is my set of experiences and how I have dealt with them, for better or for worse, so that people just know that no matter how unique their journey, they're not alone. So people would write in questions. A lot of times people used to DM me personal questions and I didn't feel qualified to answer them. So I couldn't answer them there. And I'm not a doctor. I just play them on TV. I'm not a therapist. I'm not anything. I'm not a guru. But I have some similar experiences sometimes that I can be like, well, I don't know I have no idea what you should do, but this happened to me. Does that help at all to know that? So in that sense, I Am Fun Size came out of a continued desire to tell stories and to help heal people and to help people grow and to help people feel bigger than they might feel. And that's what fun size to me is. It's not just for candy bars and short people. Fun size to me is everyone. Everyone's built for fun. Everyone's built for a magnificent, giant, fun life. Problem is, life has a way of occasionally making you feel really small on the inside, no matter what the outside looks like, or afraid or alone. And so this series, and now this book that's come out of the series, which goes a little bit deeper into all of the things that we talk about in the series and more, and a lot of extra stories and a lot of fun stories from life, a lot of embarrassing stories from life, and some sad ones. And so this whole I Am Fun Size book show, all of the things that I'm planning to do with it, comes out of a desire to continue using storytelling as my weapon of choice, to continue following what I feel like is my purpose. They change throughout your lives. But I feel like my purpose is to really help people find that part of themselves that is that superhero, find that part of themselves that is that person who can deal with adversity and still find a way to somehow make it not a good thing, but somehow give them more power rather than less. I want people to feel like, okay, I'm at the very least, I know I'm not alone. And at the most, I know how huge I am on the inside, which means I can do anything. And that's it's been very much a driving force in like the last 6 years or so, 5 or 6 years since that started. And it also came out of realizing that that's why I chose to be an actor. Some people choose it because they're like, okay, some people choose it to pick up chicks or to get, good looking dudes. Some people choose it for money. Some people choose it for all sorts of reasons. I think the main reason I chose it unwittingly was that I knew that I was a very emotionally open person, and for better or for worse, an emotionally sensitive person, and that things moved through me in a powerful way, which I got from my dad, who was a very big feeling person. And so you can use, when you have a superpower, quote unquote, you can use it for the powers of good, or you can use it for the powers of evil. So what I've realized is that I get to be this surrogate as an actor. I get to be this surrogate for you, for all the people, for all of these people in the audience. I get to be your surrogate. I get to be your avatar in the game. I get to be your player character. And I get to say, I got you. You don't have to worry about anything. Sit there, enjoy yourself. We're going to go on this ride together. I'm going to take you on this ride. I will do all the heavy lifting. I will cry. I will laugh. I will go through everything with you. And at the end, you can pick up and you can go back to your life, and nothing has changed other than you have a new experience to draw from. So that for me was like realizing that that storytelling and my purpose could come together in such a clear way. Now I understand what I used to say, that I have career ADHD, because I couldn't focus on one thing. And then I realized, no, I was just diversifying all the different ways I can do the thing I love for the purpose that I love. Because it's all storytelling, voiceover, dance, musicals, TV, film, RPGs, all of it. It's all storytelling. So that's a very long answer to your question. And that's basically why I wrote I Am Fun Size. That, and to show off how adorable my dog is, because there are glorious illustrations in this book by Vivian Truong, who's Super Risu online. You should follow her everywhere. SUPERRISU. I think it's 2 R's. If it's not 2 R's, it's 1. But Super Risu. And she just knocked it out of the park. And I met her because of the very same Fan Art Friday that led me to start.
I love that so much. And I think that's one of the reasons why we connect so well, is that's basically our goal with Agents of Fandom as well, is to kind of be that fan avatar of build a community with a bunch of fans of the same things we're fans of, and kind of be the bridge between the shows and the fans. And we'll do the work. We'll write the pieces. We'll make the theories and try and give you a little escape in this as well. And when can we find I Am Fun Size to purchase? And I mean, hey, I don't want to speak for Garrett and Ruben, but I don't think they'll disagree with me here. Can we get a button on our website so we can link it back to you so people can buy the book? Because
that will absolutely happen when we are ready to launch. So the current plan of action, the supply chain, issues and all of that notwithstanding, the current plan is to launch the book as an ebook on the 29th of August, and then the paperback will come soon after. And there's an audiobook, and we're trying to figure out when the audiobook is. I really love the audiobook. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit partial to it because I wrote the book like a conversation. And so getting to have that conversation is even more fun. It was just really fun to do. But yeah, that is good. August 29th is the first chance to get it in your hot little hands, on your little Kindle or Barnes & Noble Nook or whatever, all the little gadgets you can read on. Yeah, that's it. And it's the day before my birthday. It's the day before my birthday, which was intentional because I wanted to give that to myself for my birthday.
That is, I'm going to have to write that down so I remember to wish you a happy birthday. I'm so bad with birthdays, but
I'm a total, I don't want to say the word I was about to say. I'm a total, I'm a sucker for birthdays. I'm a complete sucker for birthdays. Everybody's birthday. I love birthdays. I love, we should be celebrating that we're alive on a regular basis, but you have a day where you get to say, dude, I'm here and you're here with me and all my friends. How amazing is it that we're here? That we're here at the same time.
My girlfriend is huge on birthdays. Hers is August 16th, so I always have to do something.
She's right there on the cusp.
We got a big month for the three of us coming up because my fiance is a huge birthday person as well. Her birthday is August 22nd, and then we get married on the 13th. So we got a big stretch of a few weeks here for the Agents of Fandom and for Anjali Bhimani.
You're getting married on August 13th? You're getting married on August 13th. That's amazing!
Yes, and I am actually flying out to Canada to meet TJ for the first time and go to the wedding, so it's a very big month for us.
Are you kidding me? That is amazing and wonderful, and congratulations. And please,
of course, I will. And I mean, hey, if you want to fly to Canada, you're more than welcome to join us. Yeah.
I want to fly to Canada. I mean, don't threaten me.
If you don't think I'm going to email you the dates and the information, I'm going to do it. But
dude, I have flown places for much less. So I'll take a look at my schedule and see what's up.
And at the very least, I think I want some Auntie Ruby wedding advice for the day and beyond.
Well, I'm going to give you some Anjali wedding advice. So I'll tell you right now. I'll give you some wedding advice right now, specifically wedding advice, not necessarily marriage advice, but wedding advice that was given to me and that I'm so grateful was given to me. Is that this day, like so many other important days in your life, this day of your wedding is going to fly by. It's going to go by so fast. And it will be one of the most amazing days of your life. No matter what happens, even if the sky falls in, it will be one of those days. All of those people will not likely be in the same place at one time again, right? So it's going to fly by. You may or may not remember things. So at some point during the day, take a minute and clock a smell or a taste or a sensation, some kind of sensation that anchors this day in your heart and in your senses and in your soul for you in the future, because you will always have that to go back to bring you back. Like sense memory is such an extraordinary thing. I can smell India on suitcases. I can smell, you guys know how that's so important for memory, right? So do that for yourself. Give yourself that gift, and have your fiance give herself that gift. And you don't even have to tell each other what it is. But I'm very glad that I did that for myself, because it really was like the greatest day of my life. And I get to relive it through life, and we get to relive it through life every single day.
I think that's great advice, because there's so much going on oftentimes that it's hard to like remind yourself to stop and smell something or remember something. And so
like keep a protein bar handy, because you're probably not going to get a chance to eat your meal.
You can say as much as you want.
I was not prepared for, because I was really excited about the food at our wedding. And
you can say as much as you want. You're not a doctor, psychologist, guru, but you're a damn expert. There's no two ways around it. That's phenomenal advice. And one of my favorite parts from the Ms. Marvel season finale was when she's talking with her father and they have the conversation about her name. And this is actually something that our guy Watch with Neebs, he pointed out early on in the series, that Kamala in Arabic means perfect, and in Urdu it means marvel. It means marvelous. And so that moment when she found her name was just so incredible. And I'm a French teacher here in Canada, and ange in French means angel, and I think that is a perfectly accurate description of you as well.
Yes, I second that.
Well, thank you guys. You guys are so sweet and so much fun. Thank you for having me. Thank you for talking with me about all the fun geek things that we have to talk about. I mean, we have so many. I mean, look, we have multiple fandoms together. I know we do. So there's always more to share.
Yeah, we got to play Apex together sometimes.
Well, I got to watch you play Apex, because I can't. I'm terrible. I can't even get past. I admit this freely. I can't even get past the training module. I'm so bad at this game. I have a console. We have a PlayStation. We had a PlayStation 4, and then I was like, oh, it's just because I'm sure a controller is broken. When we upgrade, it'll be fine. No, it's not the controller. It's me. I am physically incapable of the level of coordination that is required to play Apex. So I will be your backseat driver. I will be there telling you what to do, and then being annoyed with you don't do it. Like, do this, go do this, do the thing. Oh man. I feel like that's my only role for myself when I'm playing Overwatch as well. I'm just yelling at myself in my own head, and then Symmetra at the same time is yelling at me, being like, "Let us discuss your failures." I'm like, "Stop talking to me." Yeah, it's a whole thing. We got plenty more to talk about, and I very much want to connect with you about Agents of Change.
Yes,
because that's a beautiful thing. I love that you guys have started that, and we should
absolutely. We will do this. Definitely won't be the last time we're linking up. At minimum, on the podcast and for some more chats, and at maximum, well, I'm going to be firing you and Grace the information for this wedding. Maybe that'd be a good time for you to link back up with Grace, since you did say you missed her when we logged back on. But
I definitely do. I saw a lot of her before I left, and then I now have seeing none of her. It's very, very sad, and she can't talk back to us, so I can talk about all the lovely things about her, and she can't say anything else.
Well, I'd like to do a quick shout out to Grace as well. Grace is probably by far the best contact we've ever had in terms of setting stuff up. She is so helpful, so kind, she's always emailing us. Yeah. So Grace has been a blessing as far as connecting us with you, and also, getting us some other interviews and just keeping us in mind. So Grace
She's
is fantastic.
a good egg, that one, and now I hope you're blushing like beet
And
red.
the other
if you can hear
amazing
this.
person behind the screen that this wouldn't be possible without is our producer Ruben, who is just the best. We're running this podcast, the Ticket to Reality podcast, where we talk reality TV with the Circle's Lee Swift, and we got a lot of content that we're just firing out, and he is just not sleeping and getting it all out, and we'd be nowhere without him. So thank you to Ruben. And of course, we mentioned other interviews Grace has hooked us up with. Head to agentsoffandom.com, where you can see our article and YouTube interview with Bill Ratner, one of the most talented voice artists that the industry has ever seen. He's Flint from G.I. Joe. He's done. You've definitely heard his name in a trailer if you're not a G.I. Joe fan. And
Yeah,
exactly. And you, of course, can find Agents of Fandom on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Anjali, thanks so much for joining us. Before we let you go, where can the people find you?
Where can the people find me? The people can find me online everywhere. I am Sweet Anj with 3 E's, SWEEETANJ, because I'm such a rebel. I am Sweet Anj on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, which is where you can find I Am Fun Size, the series. And then I am Anjali Bhimani on my Facebook fan page. And then I do have a forward-facing email address for anyone who wants to write in to I Am Fun Size and have us talk about a particular issue or question or whatever on the show. And that is Anjali at IamFunsize.com. I am fun size, not fun sized. I am funsize.com.
Awesome.
So yeah, find me, chat with me, type to me, send me pictures of your dogs. I'm all about it. I love it.
In this
be careful what
the
you wish
wedding
for.
email I'm going to send is going to have lots of
send you my
photos
dogs.
of Sonic and Shadow, my first dog and first cat, as well as Obi-Wan, our most recent foster fail.
Oh my goodness, I can't. Can you? Oh, when you guys read the book, you'll see exactly how obsessed I am with it.
I want to listen to the audio book, if I'm going to be honest with you, because I want to hear you reading it to me from your own voice.
The thing is, you need the visuals. This is the tricky thing, is you need the visuals because there's a lot of really cool illustrations that go along with the book. So, I mean,
You don't have to twist my arm.
I swear this wasn't a marketing play, but I really think you want the ebook and the audiobook, or the paperback and the audiobook to like as companion reading, because I think then you get the full experience. But I swear I didn't put that together as a marketing play when I did it. I just was like, oh yeah.
I've been talking about my ADHD the whole time. You don't think I that's exactly what I want to do, is listen and look at pictures? Come on.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the best of both worlds. That's how I need it.